252.
It was the 3-hour opus, and it was.
And I saw it 3 times in the theater.
That's sort of the culture that we have today. Is everybody's gonna love what they love, but then there's a million people that are gonna tell you why you're wrong at any possible opportunity.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like
that's
everything
why-
we've all said is correct, and it's also incorrect at the same time. You know, it just depends on your point of view.
That's
I
why
agree.
I always said my statements was like I felt like, because me
Right.
watching the movie, I felt like okay, even though they're saying oh this was always the plan, it was like it looked like people were really upset with the Last Jedi. Everything from oh your parents are nobodies, they were just drunks, and they just
So
sold you for
it was a
beer.
lie.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
was cool.
He's
It was-
trying
yes,
to
it
manipulate
was
the
a-
chick
of
into joining
course it
his
was-
team. You know?
But of course it was a lie.
And that
Why
re-
would you even be believing in Kylo Ren in the first
And
place?
that brings
Yeah.
me back to Empire Strikes Back, where he says, I'm your father, and he says, that's not true. Search your feelings. You're force sensitive. You should know.
Right.
Searches his feelings. Yes, that's my father. I can't deny it. Your parents are drunks. You're nothing. Search your feelings. Yeah, I
And the
guess
Force
the
tried
lie
to
is
block the
real.
truth from her. And so if the Force was trying to block the truth from her so she wouldn't become, the next Empress, basically,
Why
which
would-
they actually showed you in the new movie.
But it's the
No.
Force. It's not the intelligence. I mean, it's supposed to be an energy field.
It's an
not-
energy field.
It's the
It has
Force
no
which
agenda.
can
That's turning the Force
create
into a
beings
demigod.
from thin
Yeah,
air. It has the ability to manipulate life, living things.
No, I'm just saying that's turning the
I
Force
know.
into something. I don't believe it.
even,
It's some
in,
demigod.
even in the
pulling strings.
mythos of Star Wars, the Force doesn't have an agenda. The
Yeah,
Force is the
right.
Force, and if you're an evil person, you can do evil things with the Force. If you're a good person, you'll do good things with the Force. But the
Yeah.
Force is just the Force.
Yeah,
it has
so-
no agenda.
It's like a gun.
It's
Yeah,
not-
I agree with you on that one.
It's
so,
true,
and
but
what
when it's out
JB
of balance, it does things to try to adjust.
yes, it'll always try to course correct.
Actually, I think it's a natural order of Jedi and Sith. They're the ones who bring the Force back to center. And by either too much
Jedi.
debating or by killing off your own, they bring the Force into balance themselves. But I don't think the Force said, "You're going to do this and you're going to do
Right,
this."
and I agree.
I don't buy that.
But that's just the mythos of it. But what we're talking about is the actual execution of the movie and how it's presented to us in the directors and writers' representation. All right, because at the end of the day, all this shit came up in George Lucas's brain, and maybe not even his brain. Maybe he was just cherry picking stuff and put it all together. He was the
Hidden
cook.
Fortress.
Yeah, he was. Hey, look,
Kurosawa.
just like every good cook, they don't come up with all the ingredients. They buy it at the store, and
And the
they,
Dam Busters by
and they
Michael
make it,
Anderson.
you know.
I have 2 things to say. I don't know why I was happy that Carrie Russell was in this movie.
I thought she did a good job.
I thought she did a great job. Yeah.
Who I didn't even know she was till somebody said that, because I guess I don't know what she looks like.
Yeah,
was
She's
she
in
playing?
a lot of JJ. She's in a lot of JJ's
What part did she
shows.
play?
Zori Bliss.
Zoe Blitz, the bounty
okay.
hunter
Bounty
type
hunter with
person,
the
when
cool-ass
Poe
helmet.
went with the helmet, and then when she put up, the only reason why I knew it was her is when she put up the visor, I recognized her.
Yeah.
But I didn't watch Felicity back in the day.
No, I didn't
But
either.
I do know she did a lot of stuff with JJ, like Felicity, like the Mission Impossible movies, like what else was she on?
Yeah, she's a lot of
Well,
stuff.
a lot of stuff. And then she was on that. What is it? The Russians? What is it called? The
Yeah,
Americans.
The Americans.
She's been on that show forever. And
There's that, and then also, I was hoping at the end it looked like Poe and Finn were gonna kiss. I thought they were just about to just start macking each other's pie holes, man. I was like, hey, it's about time.
They kind of said they were
They already
thinking
had
about
the-
going that route, but
Yeah.
knew that the pushback would be so ridiculously extreme that
So
they
they
didn't
put in
want to go
some
there.
lesbian
They put in the
stuff.
2 girls
Which
instead.
was
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah, of course it was.
Well,
it didn't seem
but
that.
if you remember,
It looked like it was.
that
it
was another thing you needed to read books to know. So yeah.
Well, if you
Those
remember
characters
the-
both exist in books.
Well, I was
and
going to
are a
say I
couple
was going to
there.
use there was a lot of comparisons to Endgame. When me and Ray Nidus was talking about, there was a lot of comparisons to Endgame because they were talking about the big homosexual kiss in this movie, and it was off to the side. It was that one. Just like in Endgame, they alluded to this homosexual character, and in the beginning, it was the director doing a cameo of a guy who went on a date with a guy, and they were both crying in their soup or whatever because it was 5 years after the
I didn't even
snap.
think I'd noticed that. Jeez.
Exactly, and that's what people were saying. Oh, well, we was thinking it was going to be like a lot. Because see, a lot of
Some
people were
major
thinking
gay!
it was going to be like Valkyrie and Captain Marvel or something. That it was going to be one of the heroes was gay, not just random dude in
Not
a
until North Star shows up. Or Iceman.
Marvel. I couldn't believe it. I went to the comic store today. I got some back issues of Silver Surfer. And my cousin asked me, "Who's that guy?" And I tell him, "That's Captain Marvel, the real Captain Marvel, not Miss Marvel, who lost her powers to Rogue. That is Captain Marvel."
Marvel.
Here's another thing with characters. Did anybody, like, I was the only person, I think, in the whole theater that went, "Oh no," when Snap Wexley got blown up. Because he's been in like 6 novels, and I've been with him since he was like 12 years old, and now he just got smoked in the middle of nothing like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Like, no. Yeah.
I had no idea who he was, but I did feel bad when it happened.
And again, Greg Gumbert does a lot of work with JJ.
Yeah.
And that's why he was in the movie in the first place.
Well,
But you know what? That happens in war. Not everybody gets a hero's death. You know?
And like the return of Wedge for 8 seconds, same thing.
yeah, I recognize
Return of the Wedge.
Wedge and Tilly's. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, going back to the comparisons at Endgame, it was like, when they were, outnumbered, and it was basically an on your left moment, and the Millennium Falcon shows up with everybody. They went to go get everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew it was going to happen,
Yeah.
but it's still like, hey, at our time of need, because all of a sudden, all the Force stuff and the Force lightning, it became like Palpatine using the Force.
That was awesome.
In the air,
yeah.
and just hit the rebels. Like,
yeah, man.
That's some force
that
control.
I thought was ridiculous.
That's some force
control.
I mean, if you're gonna put out the big bomb, he should have hit some of his own.
There should have been some casualties.
There should have been some, yeah.
The Force definitely got upgraded 50 plus
It's
times.
almost like
these movies.
It's almost like when they do the lazy writing, when they just say, the Force is the
Think
Force
about
is
it like this, right? If the Force is an energy, and there used to be 10,000 Jedi using that energy, now there's like 2. Why wouldn't it be bigger?
Yeah.
Like
No, I'm not saying, and I'm agreeing with that. I'm saying if it is,
No, I was saying the
bigger,
JB.
When it goes-
I know. I did
when it
not
goes
like
out-
the
I think
use
that's
of the
why.
Force, but that's okay.
Theoretically.
Because the movie it really wasn't about the Force.
It was about Ewoks.
Yes, and
Yes, the return of
hidden
Wicket, now
zippers
gray.
on them.
Awesome.
So I
zipper
think
flaps down there.
this is a horrible segue. Bringing up the Ewoks, everything when you really think about
Ewoks.
when you think about Star Wars, even when you think about the Mandalorian, Star Wars was always for kids.
Yeah.
We're in our mid
We were those
40s
kids.
and we're still looking at this stuff. We were those kids, but now we're grown men.
But this stuff we're hashing out this hour, do you think an 8-year-old's going to put all that together?
No,
Yeah.
they're just gonna.
Yeah,
No,
really
they're,
so.
they're gonna look at that movie and
I think you-
absolutely love it.
It's kind of like
Seriously
showing somebody
underestimate
Scarface, and they say, "Well, I don't like Scarface." Well, I made it for kids. What part of this? I mean, yeah, Jar Jar Binks was made for the kids, and all the rest of the movie
Jar Jar
was
Binks.
made for adults.
Scarface? And I'm like, who made Scarface for kids? I want to see that.
No, we
Jar
just
Jar
say
Binks.
it's
I
made
gotcha.
for kids.
Well, see,
You guys,
you notice they
it's
brought
like,
Ewoks back, but there were no Gungans.
And I could swear it was Eddie Murphy made this comment. He talked about when you say the comedy is going over their heads, it's not good comedy. It's not going over their heads. They say, it's like you say, oh, well, this is for kids. Adults aren't supposed to be, No, when you gear these movies for adults, which the last 3 were, you can't just use that old excuse, oh, it's for the kids. Trade embargoes and,
the kids,
complicated.
the kids did, though. They didn't pay attention to that part. They just, whatever.
That's.
I always think like before I had kids myself, I didn't subscribe to the it's for the kids because why would they do this and why would they do that? Then after you have kids, you go see these movies. As a parent, they know, all right, parents are gonna have to sit through this too, and they're the ones that are paying. So we got to give them something that's gonna hold their interest. We already know what's gonna hold.
Well, I think these movies are adult heavy and kid light. I would say, in my opinion. But I love the movie. We've been banging on the Rise of Skywalker this whole time. It was a really good movie. I enjoyed it.
There's so many, like, there's things in there that maybe kids don't get, but then there's so much that's definitely for, like, Babu Frick, you know, the coolest new character that could have gone Jar Jar style, but everybody loved him and laughed every time he showed up. And it was like, Babu Frick, he's one of my oldest friends, you know, like, this shit all worked. You know, there was a lot of stuff in there for kids. The robot that nobody liked, the new droid that has, you know, the issues with being touched. No, the new guy, he looks like a megaphone. They fixed him on the new movie.
Oh,
you know.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you can tell. I don't know.
I like the
new style of filmmaking. I'm not into because I can't remember who I was telling this before, but you never really lived in a scene. It was like nothing lasted more than a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was so many quick cuts. It was
I agree with
and going back to what Frank said earlier, I think that was all because of the editing. Because they had to cut down time, and when you start cutting down time, now these scenes that you have don't make sense. So now you have to shave off little things here and there to try to make it make sense. But when you sit through it, and I'm pretty sure they sat through it a bunch of times, and they kept working on it and working on it and working on it, and we got the final result. It was probably a real shit show before.
They said they cut the ending 15 different ways, and then they picked the one they liked the best. You know, and they're talking about the last 40 minutes, not the last 15. You know, so it's like there was a lot of rearranging going on in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the hard part of the movie making.
Adam Driver.
That Blu-ray that comes out is going to have a lot of special
hopefully so.
features on it.
But you know, you could tell it's an excellent movie. Just like Curtis said, we all knew the ships were coming, and yet we were all still equally thrilled when we saw them. And it's like, you know, it was a really good film. Parts of it, yes, were predictable, but I didn't care because I enjoyed the ride.
Yeah. And the ride in itself, outside of all the exposition and everything else, the ride was a Star Wars adventure film. And that's what I like. The speeders on the bikes, the jetpacks, it didn't make no sense why. Fuck it, they look cool. They were flying around, they were shooting. They went into the quicksand, and thank God they did, because they never would have found the MacGuffin if they didn't.
We gotta find the thing so we can find the other thing.
To find the other thing. When they got to the thing, thank God Rey used the Force and stood on the exact spot that you needed to stand on to hold the dagger.
And Goonie that shit.
And so the arrow can point directly to it. And yes, we understand. We have to wait for the tide to come down. The water's too red. Everybody go except Rey. Rey, you go, and you can. You've never been on a boat before, but you can pilot the shit out of a skiff because you got the Force.
Yeah.
And of course, Finn and the other girl, we can find you. Kylo Ren said, whatever, I'll just fly directly to it. I don't even have the MacGuffin, but I'll just go there.
I'll go there.
And I'll land.
You can feel her force.
Yeah.
You can feel her.
Sure.
But dude, they showed you that for 2 movies. They showed them sitting together in the same space when they were not together.
Yes, and in those 2 movies, I can feel you.
Plus, he stole the thing from her neck.
I can see you, but I can't see where you're at. They said that numerous times, but this time, I know
he honed in on it. He was able to pinpoint.
Just like he was never able to pinpoint, but Finn was like, there, she's there, in that one. She's in that ship right there. Let's go there.
And that was them showing you Finn being Force sensitive.
It's better than yes, and his Force sensitivity is better than Kylo Ren's actual Force awareness.
Well, maybe that was just his dick telling him that Rey was in that ship.
I love the whole part of the movie when they went to the wreckage of the Death Star. That was dope. Oh wow, that was good. You know,
show me wreckage.
Did you notice that in that whole last 40 minutes, like after he became no longer Kylo, there was only one line from Adam Driver in the entire film, and it was "ow." And it was a very Han Solo ow when he did it. He jumped and landed, oh, you know, and then that was it. He said nothing else the rest of the film. Now you have to watch it again and be like, did he really?
I'm gonna watch it again.
I will not. What else was I going to say? I mean, overall, yes. I mean, at the end of the day, I wanted to like the film more, but I did go in with, and the funny thing is, I went in with really low expectations. Scratch that. That's a lie. I didn't go in with really low expectations. I wanted to go in with really low expectations, but you know what happened? They dropped the fucking Mandalorian early, and I watched that episode, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see Star Wars tomorrow.
Well, and that set up the thing that other people, how come people can force heal?
I know, and it did, and
good deal.
And I saw it differently. I saw it as Baby Yoda using the Force to pull out the venom out of Grief. I didn't, but in Rise of Skywalker, she actually used the Force to heal the snake and like repair his skin and everything. And then she did it again on Kylo. I thought Baby Yoda was just using the telekinesis to
makes sense.
Hurry up and pull all this poison out of you, but not like heal him like that. But that's what I saw.
Without spoilers, how about that thing that he did in the last one? I wasn't expecting that either.
No.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna go there because
our next show we can do Mandalorian.
There was nothing spoilery there.
I would love to do a full recap on the Mandalorian.
It's like, and then that dude did the thing, right?
There was a lot of people
scared the shit out of me
who complained that the Mandalorian was moving too slow.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And then people like
too fast.
That it was moving too fast. But
that's people will complain no matter what.
People are going to complain no matter what. I felt like, because then they were like, oh, it's not even a space movie, it's a Western. No, it's not a Western, it's a heist movie. No, and everybody's wrong, and everybody is exactly right.
We've all said at different points. It's Lone Wolf and Cub in space, you know?
Yeah. But even then, there's a lot going on in The Mandalorian. And those last 3 episodes, the one where he had to break the guy out of jail.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No. I haven't seen any of it.
Oh my
God.
God.
Watch all those.
Alright, I'll forget everything.
Please do. There's no such thing as Baby Yoda.
Every time Carl Weathers says Creed, though, I giggle a little bit.
Yeah. Let me tell you, man. Watchmen, that's what we should be talking about.
And people didn't like that either. Like, what do you people need to be happy?
I don't know.
There's people complaining about everything that ended. He's like, Mr. Robot, can't tell you what happened, but it was exactly what should have happened, and people complained about it, you know?
Well, people, there are people who just don't like stuff.
There are people that downvote porn. You know what I mean? It's like, it's porn and it's free and you get to watch it. Why are you giving it a thumbs down? I mean, come on. What's up?
This is disgusting. Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
You say, bad lighting, bad camera angles, thumbs down. Yeah.
You watch the whole thing though.
I had to watch it 3 times to be sure.
I say like this. I mean, sometimes you can go to the old adage, like, if you don't like something, do better. You know, you didn't like Star Wars, you didn't like The Mandalorian, you didn't like Mr. Robot, you create a better series. Oh wait, what, you can't? Shut the fuck up. You ain't got the means, or if you think you're good, ain't nothing worse than somebody who thinks they're good and they write something out and people are like, this is trash. And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? I put everything I had into this.
Yeah.
It was garbage. Well, none of this made sense.
I don't agree with that. They're selling a product, and if someone doesn't like the product, they have their opinions. They paid money for the product, they didn't enjoy it, and they're pissed about it. I don't say shut
that's fine.
That's their right.
That's fine.
That's their right.
What we have today, though, is
paid
people
their money.
that like it until they read that somebody else didn't like it, and then suddenly they don't like it either, and then it's just, kind of snowballs.
But then
make your own opinion is great, but listening to everybody else's opinion to form your opinion is not cool.
Yeah.
So listen to our opinions and form your opinions.
Right. Yeah.
But no, there is a small core of fans that are so rabid and bloodthirsty fans that you could serve up any pile of shit.
I'm talking about the entire,
and they'll eat it up. And it's like, man.
I was wondering why my water was so cold.
It's like when I walked out of Phantom Menace, my cousin asked me, he said, "Did you like the movie?" I said, "No, I did not like this movie."
This one's yours.
Man, you know what? I'm dead. You take them. You have them.
Yeah, that one's yours.
No, it's
Yes.
You're talking about the entire internet as a whole, JB.
I'm just saying,
base.
you could give them anything. You could.
I didn't hear anything JB said for the last 3 minutes.
I know,
because
you're
I'm worried about my water bottle.
See, I like the Phantom Menace when I
Take
came
this
out.
away from you.
But the next one was the one that I was like, okay, this was not good. So, there's always a breaking point where you're like, okay, I didn't enjoy that.
Well, what I was, because Ralph said, shut the fuck up. Those fans that will eat up anything and say it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I was walking out of the theater with my cousin on Phantom Menace. He asked me if I liked the movie. I said, no, I did not. He said, what about the pod racing part? I said, that was okay, but it wasn't good enough to save that movie. Some guy behind me almost picked a fight with me, telling me how wonderful it was. I'm like, I didn't like it. I don't give a get the fuck out of my face. I didn't like it.
No,
and it's like those are the fans I say shut the fuck up.
We all have our things, and yes, I when I was saying it, when I made my comment, I was being more about the trolls on the internet that are, as soon as they watch the movie, they jump on, start bashing things before people even get a chance to watch it themselves. Mm-hmm. They're talking about how much they didn't like it and how much is the I sat and I thought about it and I talked back and forth for days before I came up, because I have, as a fan, I love Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And as a fan, knowing that this was the end of the Skywalker Saga, as a fan, I was let down. Now, of course, I can compartmentalize and be like, okay, as a standalone, and I know they retconned this, and I know they were changing this as a direct result of this. Oh, well, now they're saying that the whole thing was a plan from the beginning. Okay, whatever. It seemed a little...
I don't think they're saying that as much as I'm saying that, having just watched them
it seemed a little
all twice in this week.
I've read things and said, JJ, people say, I'm not JJ, I'm sorry, but people have come out and said, oh, this was the plan from the beginning, and okay.
I think it was an outline as opposed to, a plot. But,
and all of that could have been, with Palpatine coming up being the big bad, and hey guys, just in case you didn't know, I'll tell you right now that I was the voice in your head. I was the one pulling the strings from the beginning.
Well, go back and watch the last one that you didn't like, knowing that Snoke is Palpatine as a puppet, and it makes more sense. He sounds like him. He acts like him. His music is the same.
Right, yes. And I saw that as, when I was watching it, I saw it as, okay, so we're not even going to try to get a bad guy different than
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now that you're saying, oh, it was Palpatine the whole time, it's almost like, well, you could have been a little more clever and try to make someone look exactly like you, just with a fancier robe.
I posted that in 2015. December 2015, I said, Rey is not a Skywalker or a Solo. Rey is a Palpatine, and so is Snoke. That was my post after leaving The Force Awakens. So either I'm super good at this, or they had some sort of laying the clues down right back in the beginning.
Or they saw that and said, hey, I have an idea.
No, that's a good idea.
That's it. They owe me a bunch of money right now.
We'll fix this whole thing, and we'll just take it and not give this guy any fucking money.
David Prowse gave an interview in 1977 saying, wouldn't it be great if Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia were brother and sister?
Yeah.
He doesn't even remember doing it. If they hadn't published it
in
a magazine, they would never know.
He has a lifetime ban of being in any Star Wars.
He also revealed the Vader thing accidentally.
He was not allowed to go.
And he didn't even know. That was the same thing you're talking about. He gave an interview where he said, well, I think it would be interesting if Darth Vader was actually Luke's father, and then that happened, and he's like, well, he didn't even have that.
Oh, that's right. Once his brother and sister was Luke's father. You're right, Frank. I got that wrong.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they did both.
He said Luke's father. Wouldn't that be great? And he didn't even remember saying it. He doesn't remember the interview at all.
Well, I'm pretty sure he says that now because he got a tongue lash.
Thanks for correcting me, Frank.
I thought maybe he probably did both.
That's what I was talking about.
Right on.
That one?
Yeah, that one. I just got it mixed up. Yeah.
That's okay. The best thing about being on Retronerds is we don't fact check.
No.
That's Frank's job. We're talent. He does all the corrections. Yeah. He would have figured it'd have been, actually, JB, it'd have been right above your head, right around here.
No, I thought he said both things because David Prowse used to like to talk a lot.
And that's what my point was. That was pre-internet days.
I thought, it was a documentary on David Prowse. I thought, how interesting could that be? He's just a guy who wore a suit. And then I watched it. It was really bodybuilder. It was really quite interesting. And when they said the Vader and is Luke's father thing, I was blown away. I was like, wow.
What was I going to say? There was something before we went down that road. Ah, well, I lost it. Harp, you have anything?
I got nothing going out. Oh, yes, I do. Go see Cats. It is so bad. It's almost brilliant. It's crazy.
I didn't see that coming.
I want to go out saying, go see The Rise of Skywalker. You will enjoy it. It's an excellent movie.
And then go see Cats.
And then go see Cats.
And if you need a car or truck, go see Cal.
That's right. If you need a Cal Worthington here.
And his dog Spot.
Pussy Cal, Pussy Cal, Pussy Cal.
Literally, this is only for our Bay Area, Northern California.
I think they had it down in LA too, so the whole West Coast can benefit from the Cal Worthington joke.
Shit. A Cal Worthington joke?
Yeah.
You can't go out on a Cal Worthington joke. What do you got?
The only thing I want to say is this being our last taped show in 2019.
Yeah.
2020, we're going to start a new year, not only a new year, but a new decade. And I just want to say all the fans and viewers that watch our show now, if you watch our shows later and going and beyond, we're going to have hopefully some new content, some new talent, shows, set design, whatever we're going to come up with. In 2020, we're going to make Retronerds 252 the most enjoyable for all of those that watch. Because it's definitely enjoyable for me. I watch. Can't say the same for these guys.
We are 2 among our 24.
I feel like I'm getting fired.
Well, no, because don't forget, all of our viewers on Pornhub that watch us, thank you guys for supporting us.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, they are triple the number of the YouTube viewers. It's
Yeah!
You guys have like 100 views on Retro Recasts on Pornhub, where there's 12 on some of them on YouTube. We don't know. You're big over there. And so far, I haven't received any comments that want you guys to kiss or fuck. So we're good.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to know.
Yeah. So the next time that you're walking down and some random dude comes up to you and be like, "Hey, JB."
Sorry, you have the wrong person.
What it do, internet?
Just start putting in the funk.
Hey, if you put on the screen, I read it. Stand by my choices.
No, they have a whole non-porn section there, so it's okay.
Yeah.
And everything tanked except Retro Recast, so that's all that goes there. So it's just
awesome.
that's what they love.
Number 1 with a bullet.
The
And
people's
by
choice.
the bullet, I mean the sex toy.
And with that, for Frank G, JB, RED, I'm Cool Water Kurt saying, if we're going to live together, we're going to have to be able to play together. The more colors, the more better. Peace and love must rule each and every time. Love knows no boundaries. And bullets, even the little one, has no names.
And in 2020, he's going to come up with a new clever catchphrase.
Yeah, I'll see you.
252.
Adonis, pull yourself together.